How do two broke college students turn $600 loan from their mom into $300 million empire? This isn't a Silicon Valley startup story. This is the story of how a rundown shack in Kansas became Pizza Hut, the pizza king of the world, with over 17,000 locations in more than 100 countries. It's a classic tale of American grit, a little bit of luck, and a whole lot of dough. Our story begins in 1958 in Wichita, Kansas. Meet the Carney brothers, Dan, 27, and Frank, just 20 years old and still a student at Wichita State University. They grew up in an ordinary family. Their dad was a grocer, and their mom was a homemaker. Money was always tight, but their father instilled a powerful lesson in them: don't work for others if you can work for yourself. That entrepreneurial spark was lit early. Around that time, a new food trend was sweeping across America: pizza. But here's the crazy part: Dan and Frank had never even tasted it. Still, they heard it was the next big thing. They got a basic recipe from a friend and started looking for a place to start their business. A local realtor offered them a deal they couldn't refuse: a tiny, run-down brick building at a busy intersection. It was an old bar, just 600 square feet, but the location was perfect. The sign on the building was short, with only enough space for 9 letters. They knew they'd have pizza in the name, which left them with just 3 more letters. Because the building looked like a little hut, Pizza Hut was born. With a name and a location, they just needed the money. They turned to the one person they knew they could count on: their mom. She loaned them $600, her entire life savings. With no business experience and zero knowledge of making pizza, the Carney brothers were all in. It was a massive gamble fueled by pure student determination. On May 31st, 1958, the very first Pizza Hut opened its doors. The place was bare bones, furnished with second-hand tables and chairs. Their family and friends pitched in, helping in the kitchen. On that first night, they gave away pizza for free to build buzz. People were curious. What was this strange Italian pie? The response was immediate. The very next day, they sold 52 pizzas. Dan, who had already graduated, and Frank, who was still juggling classes and frat parties, were suddenly full-time pizza guys. They did everything themselves: mixing the dough, topping the pies, and washing the dishes late into the night. Pizza wasn't just a business, it became their life. The concept was a hit. For many people in Kansas, this was their first ever taste of pizza. The trend that started in New York had finally reached the Midwest, thanks to the Carneys. Their success was explosive. Within just 6 months, they opened a second location. A year later, they had 6 Pizza Huts scattered across Wichita. The brothers were a perfect team. Frank, the younger and more hands-on brother, managed the day-to-day operations. Dan, the older and more strategic one, handled the finances and the bigger picture. As Frank later recalled, "We didn't really know what we were doing, but whatever we were doing it right." Their mom's $600 investment was paid back in just a few months. They were learning on the fly, and they were learning fast. By 1959, they realized they couldn't expand on their own. The solution? Franchising. The first franchise opened in Topeka, Kansas, marking the beginning of Pizza Hut's journey beyond its hometown. This was the turning point that would transform their small business into a global phenomenon. Pizza Hut wasn't just about the food. It was becoming a cultural icon of the 1960s. In 1963, they hired an architect named George Lindstrom to create a signature look for their restaurants. He designed the iconic red roof, a design that was instantly recognizable and reinforced the Hut in their name. The brand identity was now complete. Around the same time, a store in Aggieville, Kansas, started the first ever Pizza Hut delivery service, using a 3-wheeled scooter. They were innovators from the very beginning. The franchising model was their secret weapon. The brothers created a simple, repeatable formula: find a location with cheap rent, target the student and family audience, and serve them fresh, affordable pizza. It was a template for success that could be copied anywhere. And it worked beautifully. By 1966, there were 145 Pizza Hut locations. By 1970, they had gone international, opening stores in Germany, Australia, and Mexico. They also expanded the menu, adding pasta, sandwiches, and salads to appeal to a wider audience. In 1971, just 13 years after opening their tiny shack, Pizza Hut officially became the #1 pizza chain in the world, both in sales and the number of restaurants, with over 1,000 locations. The two brothers from Wichita were now running a massive global empire. The growth was astonishing, but it was also exhausting. Managing thousands of franchises was a far cry from tossing dough in their first store. By 1977, Pizza Hut had over 4,000 restaurants and was breaking sales records. Dan and Frank, feeling they had taken the company as far as they could, decided it was time to sell. The buyer was a giant, PepsiCo. They purchased Pizza Hut for over $300 million, which, adjusted for inflation, would be well over $1 billion today. Frank stayed on as president until 1980 to ensure a smooth transition. Of course, the journey wasn't without its arguments. The brothers often clashed over strategy, like whether to focus on delivery or expanding the sit-down restaurants. But their partnership always endured. For the Carney brothers, the sale wasn't an ending, it was a victory. As Dan said, "We started with $600 borrowed from our mom, and we won." The acquisition by PepsiCo wasn't the end of the story for Pizza Hut, either. It was an upgrade. With Pepsi's massive financial backing, Pizza Hut was supercharged for even more aggressive global expansion. Under PepsiCo, and later its spin-off company Yum! Brands, Pizza Hut continued to innovate and dominate. In the 1990s, they introduced the legendary stuffed crust pizza. It was a sensation, boosting sales by over 37% and cementing their place in pop culture. They continued expanding, reaching 7,500 locations and capturing 25% of the entire US pizza market. Globally, their growth was just as impressive. Today, you can find Pizza Hut in over 100 countries. In China alone, there are over 3,000 restaurants, with sales continuing to climb. The brand that started in a shack now generates billions in annual revenue, offering everything from delivery and buffet to innovative new products, like a pizza box that turns into a movie projector. So, what was the secret to the Carney brothers' incredible success? It boils down to a few key things. First, simplicity. They took a popular product and made it accessible to mainstream America. Their business model was a simple, repeatable template: a red roof, fresh pizza, affordable prices, and a family-friendly vibe. Second, franchising. This allowed them to scale at an incredible speed without needing massive amounts of their own capital. Thousands of independent owners helped build the brand for them. And finally, timing and teamwork. They caught the pizza wave at just the right moment and had the perfect partnership to navigate the explosive growth. The story of Pizza Hut is a powerful reminder that you don't need a revolutionary invention or a fancy degree to build an empire. Sometimes, all it takes is a simple idea, a bit of courage, a lot of hard work, and maybe a small loan from your mom. From a $600 gamble to a global icon, the Carney brothers truly showed the world how to win the pizza wars. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more incredible success stories. See you in the next one.